Coming up on Sowerby and Luff Deluxe, a fat cat falls off a balcony.
Weird things that actually happened but probably shouldn't have.
And we find out for the very first time what's in the box. This is Sowerby and Luff Deluxe.
Live on tape from Studio Senseless in leafy London town, it's Sowerby and Luff Deluxe.
There is a place where dreams live.
Hello, lovely listeners, and welcome to episode 20 of Sowerby and Luff Deluxe. I'm Brian Luff.
And I'm still Georgina Sowerby.
This week, Georgina and I are dressed as the Beatles.
Oh, that's lovely.
From the Sgt. Pepper era, very
Cool,
specifically. And we hope you will enjoy the show. That's a quote from Sgt. Pepper.
We hope you will enjoy the show.
That's right.
Gotcha. This is so clever.
Yeah, but don't sing it because we'll have to pay for it.
Okay.
Let's
It's not recognisable when I sing it, so you're okay.
Let's kick off with this week's Matters Arising.
Sowerby and Luff Deluxe.
Any pressing matters arising this week, Georgina?
I have a pressing matter. Why is it pressing? What's it pressing on? There's an advert at the moment for Aveeno Skin Moisturiser.
That sounds lovely.
It is. Aveeno is not a bad brand. I use it myself sometimes. But this advert really annoys me.
Is it Aveeno with an I-N-O? Or how do you spell Aveeno?
A-V-E-E-N-O. Aveeno.
I'm only checking the spelling because someone might wish to Google this and enjoy the content along with you.
Okay, well, Aveeno has a moisturiser advert at the moment that says when you rub it in your skin, it moisturises your skin after 60 seconds.
Wow.
That's a minute, folks. That's super fast, isn't it? There's a huge disclaimer at the bottom of the screen, and this is an actual quote: after 4 weeks of continuous use. So it moisturises your skin in a minute, but only after 4 weeks of continuous use.
I love disclaimers.
I know.
I think I remember the commercial you're talking about, and the disclaimer is actually on the screen. I love the ones where they do the disclaimer really quickly at the end, really fast.
Yeah.
I reckon when they audition people to do commercials,
May not be good.
They test them to see how fast they can speak.
Yeah.
And then also, I think they cheat slightly by speeding it up very slightly.
Okay.
Because sometimes you've got about 400 words to fit into 9 seconds.
You know, I get that. But I think the thing that annoys me even more than the disclaimer saying you've got to use it for 4 weeks before you'll be moisturised in 60 seconds is the word continuous. Because basically, if you were to stay up for 4 weeks continuously,
24 hours
continuously moisturising your skin, you would either look like a raisin. I'm not denying you probably would be very well moisturised, but surely if you rubbed anything onto your skin for 4 weeks continuously, it would moisturise it. Aveeno, I'm not going with your disclaimer.
Also, I think you'd be exhausted.
Yeah, that's my point. Why do they use the word continuous use?
Your mate would ring you up and say, do you want to come down the pub this evening?
I
You go, no, I can't. I'm moisturising.
I've got to continuously moisturise for 4 weeks. I'm out of action for a month here, buddy.
So any other matters arising, Georgina?
I learned a great fact this week, and it cheered me so much, and explains one of the 1970s best ever food serving objects. Do you remember in the 70s, early 80s maybe, where people served cheese and pineapple on a potato that had been wrapped in foil with little cocktail sticks sticking out of it, and we used to call it the hedgehog?
Yeah, I remember it well. We used to pick at that before we had our fondue. Our cheese fondue.
This comes from something. In medieval times, they believed that hedgehogs had their spikes not for protection, but to roll over food, to collect food on their spikes, and to take it back to their children.
Really?
Isn't that brilliant? That's what medieval people thought the spikes on a hedgehog were for.
So along comes your hedgehog.
Yeah.
La 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 la
La,
la
la, la,
sees some pineapple
Oh, yeah.
lying on the
Yeah,
ground.
yeah.
Thinks, do you know what?
Oh,
I'm not
come
going to
on.
eat that.
No, not just yet.
I'm going to roll over that, take it home for the kids.
And one day he accidentally ran over a bit of cheese as well by mistake, and the kids loved it so much it just became a thing. I love the idea of medieval times.
Can
thinking
that
happened.
really be true? To me, that sounds like that just sounds too good to be true, Georgina. I've never seen a hedgehog. And we don't see many hedgehogs at all now in London. But when I was a kid,
Yes.
there were loads of hedgehogs.
Everywhere.
There was always a hedgehog
Everywhere.
walking across the garden
Yeah.
in my mum's house.
Now it's moles. Moles underground. We have a lot more moles now than we used to. Hedgehogs have disappeared. Maybe the hedgehogs and the moles have had like a giant battle and the moles have won.
Yeah. That's
because the hedgehogs are too busy spiking food.
And the hedgehogs couldn't defend themselves with their spikes because all their spikes had bits of pineapple on them. It's a bit like putting a cork on the end of a sword.
And finally, this week I was volunteering at the charity shop and a group of 3, let's call them young men, came in.
Yeah.
And they came up to the counter and said to me, do you have any waistcoats? And I said, waistcoats. And he obviously took that as me not understanding the term waistcoat because he said, he looked at me straight in the eye and went, it is like a jacket, but with no sleeves.
I have to say, I've not seen many kids walking around the streets in Crouch End wearing waistcoats.
Waistcoats, I know.
So what's going on? Was this kid going to a fancy dress party?
Maybe
or
it was fancy dress. He was after a waistcoat, but I love that he thought I wouldn't know what a waistcoat is. Like, this is so old. Not many people know what a waistcoat is. But I quite like the description. It is like a jacket with no sleeves. Because that's exactly what a waistcoat is.
It is. That was Matters Arising. Factoid Android is here.
Sowerby and Luff Deluxe.
Hello, Brian and Georgina.
What's your quality factoid this week, Factoid Android?
Here is my quality factoid. The average human being makes 35,000 decisions every day.
35,000 decisions. I suppose that's mildly interesting, isn't it? Mildly. I'll give it a mildly. Georgina, how many decisions do you think you make every day?
About 2.
Well, I mean, I can't. How could you possibly get to 35,000?
No, because I suppose you're deciding to get up, you're deciding to eat, you're deciding to blink, you're deciding to move your arm up or down, or you're deciding to do a podcast, or you're deciding now's a good time to go to the toilet.
Does that really get to 35,000?
Yes, because every time you move, presumably you're making that decision. Like my leg's going numb underneath me, I'm going to move to putting it in a different position.
So shall I get out of bed?
Yeah.
Would be, shall I get out of bed now?
Yes.
Shall I get out of bed in 5 minutes'
That's
time?
already 2.
That's 2. Should I get out of bed in 10 minutes' time?
Should I ever get
That's
out
3.
of bed?
Should I roll over and get out of bed?
Yeah.
Or should I stay on my right-hand side and kind of shuffle backwards, get my arse out of bed first, and then drop down onto the floor?
Just roll off the bed.
Yes, I suppose there are many ways even of getting out of bed, aren't there? Like Paul Simon said, 50 ways to leave your lover.
35,000 decisions to make a day.
So that would be 50 already, wouldn't it, in Paul Simon's book? Well, thank you for that, Factoid Android. Got anything else for us?
I am only contracted for 1 factoid per programme. Would you like to upgrade your licence?
I like the idea that there's an upgrade here. What, to more interesting facts?
No, thank you. There you are. That was one of the 35,000 decisions that I will make today.
See you next time, Factoid Android.
Factoid Android.
Up next on Sowerby and Luff Deluxe, don't bogart the finger monkey.
Don't bogart the finger monkey.
Georgina, from the bottom of which barrel have you scraped the content for this week's Don't Bogart the Finger Monkey?
I was trying to find out about bedbugs this week. My life is always interesting. And I was looking up bedbugs and why they were called bedbugs, because surely...
Hang on, why were you looking up bedbugs?
No, just out of interest. We were watching a really good programme in ultra high definition-y thing, and it was beautiful. And they had tiny little insects.
Frozen
on.
Planet it was.
Yeah. And I quite like the macro photography of the tiny insects. And I thought, what's the tiniest thing?
Oh no, that was on Springwatch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, meant the many natural.
Oh, let's get our references
program.
right. Here.
Okay, it's Springwatch,
Yeah.
one of our favourite programmes. Yeah. And I was looking at what's the tiniest thing that human beings live with, and it's bedbugs. And I was thinking, well, when were bedbugs around, and why are they called bedbugs? Because the bedbugs were around 115 million years before the bed was invented.
So where did they go?
Well, exactly. What was a bedbug? Before, presumably it was like a pile of leaves bug.
So here comes your bed bug. La 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 la.
Walking along.
It's literally looking for a bed.
It is.
Right?
But they haven't been invented yet.
It only lives for probably a week.
Yeah,
right?
in a bed.
And it's going to be another 50 million years.
115 million.
115 million years before the bed
is invented.
So he's probably going to be looking for, he or she.
Yes, of course.
He's probably going to be looking for something.
Let's not be sexist about the bed bug.
This bed bug is probably looking for something that looks as much like a bed as it can find.
As possible.
Yeah.
So, yes, if we go back 115 million years, I'm thinking a pile of leaves maybe, or maybe a bit of fur. Maybe up to that point, they weren't bed bugs. They were in my bit of animal skin that I put on the ground in order to rest.
Or maybe something just that's roughly the same height as a bed. You know, a bed is about, 2 foot off the ground. So maybe this bug was just wandering around, just wandering around, looking for something approximately 2 feet high that it can jump up onto.
My lap.
And think, this is
a
bit like a bed.
Yeah. I'll stay here for 115 million years until these dumb humans invent something that I can stay in perpetuity.
I would love to be a fly on the wall, right? Keeping the insect theme going.
Well done.
I'd like to be a fly on the wall and watch the first bed bug that comes along after beds have been invented. Yeah. And it's walking, and it's been looking for hundreds of millions of years.
Yeah.
And there's the bed. I mean, can you imagine what went through its head? After all these years, finally, there's a bed.
It's a bed.
And at that moment, it died. But its offspring was the first to jump onto a bed.
Because that's where it laid the eggs, and the first eggs laid on a bed, and they're going, yoo-hoo, party time, we're in the bed, we're now officially bed bugs.
It's one of my favourite pieces of content of the series, that was.
So far, this is going very well.
It sort of snuck up on me, Georgina. You know, now the thought of what did bed bugs do before beds were invented is going to stay with me.
Yeah, I know.
It's one of those
little
day.
facts, isn't it?
It is.
You're going to be able to use that in the pub for at least another 115 million years.
I am. What else you got for us on Don't Bogart the Finger Monkey?
The Japanese, and I love this idea. Now, we all basically get through life, don't we? Every now and again, we maybe go out, get a bit drunk, and try to forget our troubles. But in Japan, they actually have a Forget the Year party.
Forget the year?
Yeah. So
what's that?
Well, basically, you go, you eat, drink, and get merry, and you forget everything bad that's happened that year. And then you can actually go to this party, and its sole purpose is for you to forget all the horribleness that has happened in the last year. And I quite like the sort of purging nature of that. I suppose the British people do that every weekend, don't they? When they go out, they purge, they drink to excess, and then especially on a bank holiday weekend, there were a lot of drunk people around last weekend, and so I quite like the idea of Japanese Forget the Year parties.
I think Benzie went to one of those Forget the Year parties once, and someone said to him, "What is it that you're trying to forget?" And he said, "I can't remember."
But I think think some people would like to do just like forget the life so far party, maybe.
Yeah, I know. Over the last 2 or 3 years, there have been a few years that we'd all like to forget,
Yes,
really, haven't
exactly.
they? So maybe we should all have a forget.
forget
Boris
the
Johnson
earth.
should definitely have a forget the year pass. In fact, he probably had one
Yes.
during the lockdown.
Yeah, just going, let's forget all this happened. Well, he has forgotten everything that's happened, hasn't he?
Yeah,
So-
that's going to run and run, that story.
Oh, it is. And also, this is an interesting thing that I learned this week as well. It's a weird old custom that is actually specific to the UK and the USA. I suppose the nature in that the UK went over to the USA. A smock or naked marriage was where the widow was freed from her dead husband's debt if she remarried naked or semi-dressed.
What?
I mean, what the heck is going on there? Like, we'll forgive you your ex-husband's debt as long as you walk down the aisle naked. Isn't that a weird thing, though?
That's really weird. Actually, it reminds me of when I was flicking around the other night while you were out. I was flicking around
You
looking
were flicking around?
I was flicking around, like I often do. I was flicking around looking
Okay.
for a film to watch, you know.
Yeah, okay.
And I found a film from 1958
Ooh.
starring Kirk Douglas.
Nice.
Called The Vikings, right? So I thought, okay, I'll give this a go. I got about 15 minutes into it. I thought, I cannot watch this anymore. It was the most misogynistic film
Right.
I've ever seen.
Right.
The scene where I finally gave up on it and turned over featured a blonde girl with
Yes.
pigtails
Nice.
in the stocks.
Oh, no.
Right? And her blonde pigtails were pinned out, and Kirk Douglas was drunk and he was throwing an axe.
Oh, my
And
God.
He was throwing a huge axe at this girl, and the idea was that if
Oh,
he
he
could
chopped her
chop off the
pigtails, yeah.
pigtails, then he could have the girl.
No.
And it was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen.
no.
And all the way through, Kirk Douglas is roaring, laughing at the top of his voice.
Yeah.
There's a room full of men and women as
Right,
well,
okay.
all laughing at this.
That's entertainment
while this
for you.
poor woman is in the stocks having an axe thrown at her. And I have to say, that's not something that you want to see on a Thursday night. And I don't think it'll ever catch on. I don't think it'll come back.
No.
So what should we do this evening? Well, we could go down the King's Head tonight,
Yeah.
and there's the throwing axes at women in the stocks. That was Don't Bogart the Finger Monkey. Still to come on Sowerby and Luff Deluxe. Are all pandas black and white?
Oh.
Thesaurus Walrus lodges a complaint. And the third thing, I haven't filled in, it just says XXX.
Excellent.
So I don't know what that is.
Okay.
To listen to the full-length version of this podcast, go to patreon.com/Studio Senseless and become a patron of Sowerby and Luff Deluxe.